working on the things that you like is even more important when you're more in the starting out phase, or we're more in the growing sort of growing an audience phase, because that will ensure that you keep coming back to the desk. That will because if you're liking what you're doing, you're not fighting the work like from step one. You keep coming back, and that helps you create and maintain consistency. And that's the shortcut. Like if you wanted the shortcut, it's just repetition.
Reijo has achieved something many designers and artists pursue for their entire careers: a style. Through relentless posting and discipline, he has produced a body of work that not only speaks for itself, but has brought clients and, most importantly, allowed him to keep doing the work he loves. But what is a style in design or art? How do you achieve such discipline? This is part of the conversation we had with Reijo Palmiste, a product designer and 3D illustrator from Tallinn. This is Creative Signals, episode 2. When did your work start to feel like your work?
I think it's very individual. It's very, for example, for me, I think it's very like I don't consider, when I'm working on a particular piece, I'm working on a particular project, I don't think about it consciously. Like I don't think about it, this has to be like X type of thing. It has to have X type of features to be sort of digested as my type of work. These things just happen naturally inside of it. So I feel like it's a very, you have to find it for yourself, and it's very difficult for somebody else to kind of point you the way, because it has to come from like what you naturally like. Like I like motion that's sort of heavy and sort of bouncy and sort of like communicates weight and stuff like that. That's things I like. There are other animators too who don't like that. So I work on the projects with the features that I like, and that then over time, over I think enough repetition, gradually builds up into like, this is what your kind of look is, or what you're distinct, or what you're sort of distinctive through. So
yeah, I think a lot of what we call style has to do with repetition. I think that word is key, and you know, both in you shaping that style and also them perceiving that style. But what do you think about that? Because your work has been growing in quality, in variety, in, you know, different parts that are not specifically related to the word repetitive, right? Like it's actually not repetitive. Like we can discuss, and we will discuss the density of work, the amount you post online, right? For sure. But that doesn't mean your work is repetitive. It's actually the opposite, in my opinion. But what makes it a style?
Everything. If I break this question down into what I mostly do is 3D illustrations and 3D animations, right? And style begins from the way I place the camera. Style begins like the way I place the background. Style begins from the way I light the scene. Like all of those micro decisions, like small decisions, will end up in mixing into this large soup that is called style. Like they're incredibly small, distinctive decisions that you will end up repeating without even realizing. You know, you feel like, I found this pocket that I really like this kind of a design, sort of like a style that I like. and you end up staying a while in it. You start, once you've been in it, you start, creating a variety inside of it. You start changing things, changing the formula inside of it, I think. And that through that, your style, through that you acquire a style, and through that the style evolves and becomes, because when you look at my work like a year ago, it's kind of different. Like, it's same, but it's kind of different. A year ago before that, it's same, but it's kind of different. And it sort of keeps going like that all the time, because I find a pocket, I'm happy in it for like a little while, but then I start, wandering around. I start trying different things. I'm challenged in different ways. I find different ideas. Through that, like through those repetitions, through those actions, the style, my personal style, then evolves as well.
How much of that style of you finding those little pockets has to do with workflows, and how much of it has to do with the actual nitty gritty you put in it? You know what I mean? Like, because for example, what I like recall from your work, right? For example, there's a lot of floating stuff, right? Like things are floating a lot, right? Not everything, but there, right? There's a certain isometric view that you use, right? There's a leaning towards metallic kind of materials, right? There's a certain type of easing in the movement that you apply. I can tell, right? So those I can assume that those have to do with a certain workflow that you acquire or something, but maybe those are just, style or design decisions. How do you take them?
When I think of a workflow, I think of like multiple apps working together. But all of those things that you described are just like small actions inside Blender. That's it. Like Blender covers 90% of the workflow anyway for me. So those are just small actions that I do every time. Those are just, and it's not like I intend to do them every time. It's like, this is the thing I like to do. This is what I find interesting. This is what I want to play around with. This is because what I don't want to do is present things that I know people like, because that sort of is starting to veer away from what I like. Because I'm doing the work, I want to do something that I like.
That's super interesting. That's super interesting to me. I'm a little bit on that route myself nowadays, where I started to create some videos and do some content, and I find myself in that exact position in which I don't have a following yet, right? And so the only thing I have is to do what I like, right? And I think I need to keep it safe in that sense, and I have the same position. So I like you to expand your take on that, because it's very, very interesting. Nowadays, there are all sorts of incentives to actually go after the people that look at your work, right?
I think the notion of producing the work that you like, or working on the things that you like, is even more important when you're more in the starting out phase, or we're more in the growing sort of growing an audience phase, because that will ensure that you keep coming back to the desk. That will because if you're liking what you're doing, you're not fighting the work like from step one, right? You keep coming back, and that helps you create and maintain consistency. And that's the shortcut. Like, if you wanted the shortcut, it's just repetitions. That's it. Like, you just have to like what you're doing and just keep doing it. And that's it. That's, honest to God, that's the shortcut.
Yeah. No, I absolutely, take that. It's definitely there. The anxiety of people, of it not coming in a certain timing. I think it's the problem there, because the thing is, when you do what you like, the timing is whatever it is, right?
Exactly. It doesn't matter because you're enjoying it anyway. You're doing what you like anyway.
But you need to, pay your bills, and you want people to like you, and you want that. And so this guy did it in 2 weeks. Why the hell I'm not there yet? Because I'm doing my work, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the random part of doing your work. The random part sometimes can be steered towards a certain strategy you apply to, get more views or whatever. But I totally agree that if you want, I would say, you mentioned shortcut, which it is, but I think it's a more long-term strategy though. Like it's an actual, you're taking care of yourself though.
Yeah, I have 2 points on this. One is, I think it's I think it's healthy from a mental health standpoint for you to make peace with the fact that it's going to take years. And if you're not willing to invest years into whatever it is that you like doing, it's not like you're clearly not gonna. Then it's pointless, right? Do something else. Like if you're not gonna invest, then what are we doing? But the other point is the one you mentioned, like comparing yourself with others, like somebody else did it in 2 weeks. Let me put it to you this way. Like, for example, let's say I'm just starting out as a 3D. I'm starting out as an illustrator, and on week 2, I get like a huge contract from like Facebook or something like that, right? That doesn't mean I'm a good illustrator. That just means I got like a good. I'm still not a good illustrator, right? I'm on week 2 of this. I'm barely figuring out how to hold the pen. I'm still not good. It still takes years to be good. I just got lucky at the start with a client. That's it. That's just getting lucky with something else. But internally, I know I know that I'm still not good. I don't know how I got this client, but I'm still not good. I internally know this. And that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's definitely the case. And I think, nowadays, of course, social media doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help.
No, not at all. I think the timing is warped in that sense, and it's. I
feel like it's useful to look at social media as strictly as a tool.
Yeah.
If it's starting to become something else as other than a tool, then it's starting to sort of veer off into something that's probably not healthy or less healthy. If you look at it just as a tool, like this is what I use to get my workout, or this is like to show people what I'm good at, right? That's good. Other than that, I don't know.
I agree. And so, I wanted to also discuss this topic, right? So nowadays, the word taste, right, is thrown around everywhere. And I think it's a shield against the current moment, against AI. I think this sort of rise up as a concept because of that.
For sure.
And I want to understand your take on that, right? Is it just like an online buzzword, or is it something you have to earn and learn? You're right, an actual kind of human trait, right, that will help us thrive in this new era. What do you think?
It's definitely. It's a very difficult question, I think. I feel at the same time I feel like it should be a very simple question to answer, but for me I feel like it's difficult. I feel like I don't have the proper vocabulary or education for answering this, I think. So I will answer it from my own small perspective.
I honestly don't agree with you, because I think you do, because of the body of work you have already. And I can bet that 5% of your work nowadays is touched by AI, and everything you do is done by you. What do you have to say about that?
Touched by AI in what way?
Touched in the sense of, hey, Codex, write me a script for Blender to create a box or whatever.
It's like I don't think that those tools are at
build
that
me
moment.
A sword or whatever.
I don't think it's gonna work out yet. That it's gonna work out 6 months from now, but not yet still.
Yeah, but wait, because sure, but isn't there an important part, which is your experience and what you have already lived, right? What makes that sword that you want to do, and possibly the only way to do it the way you want it is by you crafting it out.
I think but like Claude already connects with Blender, and I haven't tried it. I use Claude, but I haven't tried Blender. And Claude, it could do everything for me, and I wouldn't use it because that's not the point. I like doing it myself. I like playing around in Blender. I like modeling everything, and I like animating everything. I don't want Claude to do it. I want to do it myself because it's fun. It's like having an AI play a video game for me. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? I want to play the video game myself. So it's the same analogy. So, but for taste is just the things that you like. Just the very individual things that you like. Not saying that, oh, I like the new linear site or I like the new versatile site. That's not taste. I feel like that's like part of the, I don't know how to say it, part of the sort of the global agreement of things that we agree that we all like.
Trend,
and that is true.
You could say trend, you could say...
And those are, and I don't want to take anything away from those things. Those are extremely good things.
Yeah.
Extremely well done things. But taste is something that's super individual to you. Like what sort of art do you like? What sort of music do you like? What sort of people do you like? That's very incredibly specific to you. And that's the thing that's going to make it very hard for an AI to... I don't know if they can create it, but it's going to be very difficult to replicate it because it's very, very... Taste is kind of like a style. It's everything inside of you. Like every choice you make is a part of your taste. And it can definitely be used as a gatekeeping tool, I think. And sort of like a shield is a good way to put it, I think, as you did.
Well, it's kind of a segue. It's kind of a segue from the previous module, if you will, of becoming visually recognizable. I think it's something that enables that in a way. Or if you don't have that sort of defined taste, or you're aware of what you like, or you have sort of a build up of certain things you like, right?
Yeah.
It's only with that you are becoming visually recognizable, because you let that in, right? You let that in,
exactly.
and you sort of take advantage of that experience, of that knowledge, of that eye that you pay attention to things, etc. That allows the work to be your own, right? And it could be. I think it could be sort of channeled in both doing actual work of whether it is pushing pixels on design or illustration or whatever, but also could be around curating, for example, right? Curating your own ideas and kind of refining things. I think those are very important too, right?
I think the most I think the most, or like the I don't want to say problematic, but it's not problematic. It's the most difficult part about owning your own taste, or like understanding taste for yourself, I think, as a junior, is accepting your weirdness. Like you're most
I like that.
weird in some way. You cannot, like, you can pretend how much you want. You have some weirdness in you. You do some things differently than other people do. Like you have to do that as a person. Everybody is different. Everybody is a little weird, right? Taste is you letting that weirdness kind of take over for a little bit, or like you're letting it in and you're letting it take control and say, but these are the movies I like, but this is the music that I like, or these are the books that I like, or the art, or the illustrators, or stuff like that. Not and feeling safe inside of it, not being like, oh no, I can only like Helvetica and maybe Inter, and that's it. Like I cannot like any other fonts, right?
Yeah. No, I think this is where taste and probably uniqueness or something new overlaps, right? So when you want to do something new or attempt to it, right? You need to find ways to mix two things that are seemingly unmixable, right?
Yes.
Seemingly far apart, or that have no apparent connection.
Yes.
When you do that, you start to become to produce something new, right? And that applies to your own life and your own experiences as well, because you are a piano player and you like surfing. And what do they have in common? I don't know. But maybe you can mix those worlds.
Yeah. But I think there's a caveat here, which is that when you're starting out, whatever the profession is that you're starting out on, I think there is definitely a place for your own taste and your own sort of weirdness to come into the work and to make that unique, but it cannot happen before you understood how the work is done. Like because if you let your uniqueness sort of pollute the way that you're learning how to do the work, you might never actually get good. Like you have to, for example, my sphere of knowledge is like 3D illustrations. If you don't properly learn how to do lighting from the start, you sort of get into something different or get into something weird, you might not ever get good at doing lighting, right? And that's going to measurably hold you back, like from hold back the quality of your work, right?
Yeah.
You have to learn the foundations first, and then you understand, like you've now learned how to ride the bike, and now you go, okay, maybe I'll take it off some jumps and see how it goes, right? But you have to learn to ride the bike first.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's very important to not just let in your weirdness in that sense, and also I think there's an important caveat, or not caveat, but additional trait here, which is evolution, right? Like you need to allow evolution to occur here, right? Like
yes,
like your taste is not fixed. It's actually organic. It's actually happening in real time with your current experience, right?
Yes.
Doing a segue from that, right? What do you think of the relationship between taste and trends? Meaning, the current experiences are are touched and are covered by, you know, all the things you see and that you live, right? And a lot of them are, you know, consuming some trendy stuff, or you see something online that you liked and you kind of pin it in your visual library or whatever. And so you adopt that and you start to evolve into something that you like, right? And then probably it becomes your own taste, your own style. But how much of that is taste versus, you know, trend in that sense?
I feel like what I genuinely think about it is trends can be on taste. Like the work you produce according to your taste can accidentally land on a trend that can work, but trends can never be tastes because it's so transient, it's so ambiguous, and I think it's so boring.
It's volatile.
You're producing work that is a bit if you're relying on trends for your taste, what you're doing is you're signing off a lot of the creative sort of the foundation to something else. You're not doing it yourself. It's not coming from you. It's coming from it's coming from someplace else. The rules are made somewhere else for some other reasons, and you're not in charge of that. And that feels silly to me. That doesn't feel right.
Well, in a way, that's the kind of Homo sapiens kind of you know social characteristics of ourselves, right? Of being, you know, following a herd or following a certain social pattern, right? And I think it comes from that, and you start to feel FOMO, and you actually need to hop on that wave in that sense. And I think that takes over, and that's the hurting part, right? That's the thing that you probably you don't even realize it, and you kind of try it out a little bit, and hey, and then you realize, hey, I'm not following myself, right?
Yes.
I'm following something
Correct.
else or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I think it's an interesting.
At the same time, I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with following a trend if it's just for the purpose of getting good. Because a lot of the design trends, at least on Twitter, I see a lot of the design trends are very high fidelity, at least in web design, right? And that requires a high bar of craftsmanship, a high bar of commitment, right? If you're following that trend and you're just a junior, good for you. Because it'll mean that whatever happens, you will get some increment better than you are now. Just because you have to put in the work to get on trend, basically. And through those repetitions, if you do that long enough, I think you will find what your own style is, what you like is, and you've already established that you're good with the tools. Like you know how to produce high fidelity design.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I wanted to also talk a little bit about the overlap of your work, right?
Yeah.
I think someone might describe you as artistic, or the work you do is very artistic, but also it requires a lot of technique and a lot of, in my opinion, contextual thinking. Not all of the pieces that you do are meant to be applied specifically, let's say, on a website or app, right? But the language in which you start or that you use are very contextual to that, right? And they somehow live in a digital sort of environment, right? Within a product or within websites or things like that. But the direction feels very artistic. How do you move between, the utility and the artistic value?
I think the most, we can have like even a clear-cut example here. For some reason, there's an outsized portion of my clients who are fintech, right? And also crypto within inside fintech, so crypto fintech people, right? That means I've drawn a bank card at some point, like in every possible way that a bank card can be drawn, right? Like I've made scenes with bank cards, like in every way that is possible.
Yeah.
So you would think that it's become boring, right? But it's not, because it's every time it's a different kind of challenge. Like it's a different kind of brand, it's a different kind of client, it's a different kind of situation, a different kind of context for the work. So even though fundamentally what I'm doing is the same, I'm making a bank card look cool, but everything around it is different. Everything around it is differently challenging. But you can be fairly creative with it still, and have some artistic liberty there.
And of course, for the pieces that you do for yourself and you post online on your channels, etc., those are specifically artistic, right? Like those are taken from your, I don't know, whatever inspiration you have. Like that.
Whatever the idea is that strikes me at that moment, I will open up Blender and I work on it until it's done, and then we post it.
But what's your relationship with that? Because I think many designers sort of struggle with the, in a way, perks and good feeling of doing whatever you want, right? In an artistic sense, right? Versus responding to your design service, right? Something that you offer people and you answer, what they need, right? And so what's your take on that?
I think it's biased because I've never done it before. So I've only ever done things that I like. So I don't have experience in the sense that I tried doing the things people liked and then that's what happened. Or I've only done things that I specifically enjoyed.
Sure. So. But when you have a brief and you need to produce 5-10 assets or whatever for a website, right? And you need a card, you need a like a bank, whatever.
Yeah.
And you need to respond to that. You need to answer to their asks, right? How do you take? It's not how does it come to you? I know you like doing your work. I know that part. The part I'm most interested in discussing is the sort of the hinging between, hey, I like to put this color here, and I know it's not the exact color, but I think it's best, and I put this because I like this. It's my taste. This is what I want. I think it's gonna be better. Says what they actually, prescriptively said in a brief. Whatever. What?
Yeah, I understand. So for me, that's very situational dependent. That very much depends on the client itself or the project itself. I think there have been like maybe 2 to 5 projects across my entire career that I have not found the fun in. Like because to be able to produce something good, I have to find the fun in it. Like I have to find the way that the thing that excites me inside of it. Once I find the fun, it naturally produces good work by itself, right? And that's like within how prescriptive or brief you want it to be. I will still find a way to make it fun for myself.
Well, but if I wanna pin a learning from this conversation, I think it's the one you just said, and you put in words something that I do sometimes naturally, but many times I forget, which is to find the fun. To find the fun, meaning it's within yourself to create it, or to find it, or to understand it in your way, or to. I think it's a very kind of proactive and optimistic way of thinking. But I wanna expand on that a little bit, because it's such an interesting concept, to find the fun on whatever they throw at you. They throw at you.
Yeah, 100%. I have it's very, and it's not easy. It's not easy. In some instances, like for example, when you have a project that's ongoing and you're like on the 11th, 15th iteration of a single thing, by that time you're sort of creative. You're
drained.
Yeah, you're drained. You're not creative anymore. You're problem solving at that point, right? You're fixing problems. You're not problem solving anymore. Or like you're not creative anymore. You're sort of just do X, Y, and Z, and hopefully we'll get this over the line and we'll move on, right? That's you sort of go into a different mindset at that point, and it's very difficult at that point, I think, to find the fun in it again, because you've chewed this bite so many times that it's completely like it's barren now. It's there's nothing left in it for you anymore. Hopefully that's not the case for most of the projects and most of the situations, but it can be a struggle, I think, to find the fun in it. But that's the if I want to naturally, effortlessly produce the thing that I'm best at, what I think I'm good at, then I have to find the fun in it. Like I have to make it fun for myself, and then the results for that will follow, because it's when I'm enjoying it, I'm naturally producing something that I think looks good, right? I think is good. It's the point where it stops being fun, then you have to start worrying.
Yeah, and I think it's always, at least to me, it's always a kind of it has a certain energy or time limit.
Yes.
I can see when I start a project how that sort of rises up in a graph, and then it slowly starts to decay.
Yes.
And yeah, you need to kind of overcome it in a seamless way for it to be like 100% positive in that sense. In my experience, that sort of comes and goes. Like I don't see it in every project, right? Many of the projects are just getting to a healthy point, and then they are finished, and that's probably it. But it happened for sure. Projects that are particularly lengthy, for example, and they weren't meant to be lengthy, and I think that's an actual issue, right? To be over to have an overboard, right, on time. I think it's but I think your take on finding the fun, I think it's definitely interesting. And from that concept, right, you already we already talked about the doing what you like to do, right? So the work doesn't bite your ass later, right? And so I wanted to talk about inspiration versus discipline.
Mhm.
And that might not be exactly related or opposite or anything like that, but I think there's two kinds of work, right? One has to do with finding that is inspiration and actually proactively nurture it. And another one is a little bit more of a will program in which you sign up, which is,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna do this for 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've been posting pretty much every day for who knows how long, right? How much that comes from actual raw discipline, and how much it is it from inspiration, right?
I don't think I've been inspired, in the sense that you mean, like having like a eureka moment. I don't think I've had it for like 7 years, because it's all just, I know I have to do something, so let me go look for an idea. I find an idea somewhere, or I have a notebook where I write down ideas. When it's time to work on something, I open up the notebook, pick an idea, and just go from there and see how that looks like. But otherwise, it's just, I know I have to do something to sort of give a reason for my existence today. So I will go work on something, and then that's it. Like, it's because it's just waiting for something. It's so, I think it's such a negative way of thinking, in my opinion, about inspiration. Waiting for it to strike. The inspiration will strike when you actually start working. That's when it will strike. Just waiting for something, waiting for a good idea, that's what you will spend your whole life doing, waiting for a good idea. So I would much rather just start working on something and then figure out what the idea is, rather than just wait.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a healthier way to to mitigate the randomness of inspiration, if you will. Many artful people do that in that very way, I think.
To me, it's a mechanical problem. What do I want to do? I want to work. Okay, good. I need an idea for it. Okay, I will go find an idea for it. Not that I will wait for some idea to come to me and then I will start work. No, I want to start work now, and I want to work on something. I want to play around, right? It's a very mechanical thing, I think.
So in a way, discipline comes first, right? Like, you need to start working. You need to, right?
Yeah.
But in the topic of inspiration, and now going, let's say we address the going after, a certain cadence of work, right? And you find yourself working at 8 a.m. every morning in a specific thing you like, right? In that work that you find that inspiration, that idea, whatever it is, what is it that inspires you the most? And this is more of a personal question in that sense, right?
I think this is I think it's a two-part answer. One is that what I tend to like are shapes. What inspires, like, because when I'm in that mode of when I'm looking for an idea, I know I have to do something, so I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna scroll like Cosmos or Pinterest or flip through my books. I'm gonna look for an idea. What generally gets the gears moving the fastest is seeing an interesting shape. That's it. That's all I need for most part, and that will sort of, that shape will grow into something else. but I can also be in that moment inspired by my own previous work, and I think that is dangerous, because I feel like that's like the snake eating its own tail. Like that creates like a downward spiral. Like you don't realize it at the moment, but when you commit to it over a long period of time, you realize like this is like this has been a downward spiral in terms of like variety and style and quality. I feel like sometimes I look to my own work and see like, I made like this particular element in this particular piece was done well. So I kind of go into the same mindset of like, how did I make this, or figure out like, how can I replicate this, right? But I intentionally try not to do that very often, because I feel like I feel, and I don't have proof for you for this, but I feel like it's detrimental to me.
Yeah, no, I know. It's kind of like derivative, I think it is.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you're when you're that video that makes the video post every time, like you download the video and you repost it, you download, and it's sort of it's a detrimental in a way.
Yeah. The quality goes down through
the quality goes down because it's a copy of it, and
yeah, exactly the same effect.
The same breed dog, right? Breed of dog.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. Yeah, no, I understand. It's I can relate to that. And I wanted to kind of in the last topic, do you have any sort of projects like of your own besides your life around all your work and freelance and all the posts that you do, and etc. Do you have any like, because I think it is as important as putting the hours to craft what you said, right? Like, hey, I figure out this train will help me or whatever. You do the work, you do the reps, fine. But to me, and coming to the taste point, it is as important as going for a ride, having a hobby.
Yes.
What are other projects? Maybe are design related. It doesn't matter.
I think, and I don't know how much your audience will appreciate this answer, but I've been super heavily into vibe coding. Like I'm making all of my internal tools. Like I'm creating everything. I'm now realizing how much I can augment my workflows if I can build my own plugins. Like I have a specific thing that I need to do. Bam! I can now make my own plugin that will do this thing. I can connect together many different apps into like a chain and do something. I've been like, I used to use tons of different software for like business things, or timer or stuff like that. I built all of that myself just for the fun of it. It's super fun. I get to customize everything. I own the data. And I don't pay for a subscription for the software. So it's been super fun and super sort of educational for me, I think.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. I definitely have my own apps and my own software, and I've been experimenting with AI a lot, and I'm super pro AI. I know the threats and the downsides and all the quirks it has. And by the way, it's because you experiment with it that you know that, right? Like that that it's gonna replace you anytime soon or whatever. But yeah, for example, on my end, what changed quite a bit. Like I still do develop in Webflow.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 2 sites that I created were entirely on Codex. And
Really?
like the third one is my own one that it's gonna launch in a few weeks. But the experience, man, it's been amazing. In what sense? And this is by the way, the next episode from one that I'm alone speaking to the camera, speaking about this. So it's going to be a little bit of a redundant thing, but my take is that the gap between the end result and the idea is getting closer and closer and closer. It doesn't mean you don't need to do anything. No.
Yes.
You need to prompt away like a fucker, right? It's like
and to be honest, all of the software that, for at least from my experience, all of the software that I produce are essentially these are toys. These are not releasable. This is not releasable software.
Oh, definitely no.
This is not something that's gonna go out in public and being sold for whatever. This is personal, essentially toys. And I don't think one of the more complicated things that I've built is we're building a fitness app for just me and my brother as a competition thing, and it's revealing to me how shit vibe coding actually is. There's a lot of great things about it, but also as a complete non-developer, right? I cannot read code for shit. I have no opinions on any of this, right?
Me neither.
And that's revealing to me there's no way that I can actually make a product that I can release to the public. This is a toy, because vibe coding is such a dangerous thing. If you're making toys for yourself, that's good. That'll work fine. So not releasable software.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree on the level of complexity of the app or web. I definitely agree on that. But I have an asterisk there, which is my experience on kind of both ends, right? So first, I have this couple of websites that I created entirely in Codex, and my experience has been, I would say, not flawless, but the gap of what I had in my head, the idea that I want to represent visually, and the experience has gotten so much close to what I had.
Yes.
And for example, if I needed to do that in Webflow, there's no way at all to do it, right?
Yeah.
Seamless transitions, pageless websites, and kind of, I don't know, infinite scrolling or whatever. There are a lot of things that you can definitely address, and in my opinion, are production ready. But on the other end, right, we are creating this app for a client with my developer friend. And the first attempt from the client, they were delayed. He reached out and said, "Hey, Juan, do you know Claude? Do you do Claude Code?" Yeah, I can try it. What do you need? Oh, I need to build this app. He showed me it's an iOS app. Showed me the flows, right? Of course, half of the flows weren't there. No worries. But I had this. Can you produce it? Let me check with my friend and I'll come back to you. Check with my friend. My friend is okay with AI, but it's not the, president of AI or anything. It's fine with it. He uses it quite a bit to, replicate screens or things like that. Fine. He told me, "You're crazy." Or he's crazy, rather, right? He's crazy. Crazy. You cannot build this with AI. So true that we started working on it with him. Took a lot of time. It's getting in shape. It's fine. It's working fine. Mm-hmm. But he did a little bit with it, right? For example, coming from Figma to the UI, much easier and much faster. Great. a little bit more of a perfect pixel situation. But yeah, it's something that is not there, and I don't think it's gonna be, because my take is that projects are kind of living on its own, right? Like, you have ideas over that, and the AI can try to interpret them, and it's gonna make it try and actually build something for you, and then it sort of stretches what you had in mind, and then you kind of try to pull it back to what you thought, and what you thought was what we said already, right? Your experience, what you have in mind. And so I don't think that relationship will ever be clear enough. So in one go you had the app, in one go you had the whatever, regardless of the amount of whatever.
I think, and this is me without saying it, without any experience with it yet, I think you're wrong, because I feel there are, like, OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw and Hermes and stuff like that, like harnesses for agents. I think, from what I've seen, at least from what people do with them, I think if you establish a relationship with that harness agent, like a Hermes or an OpenClaw, like over a set period of time, like a year, 18 months, something like that, I think it will get to a point where you will tell it through fucking Discord, or I don't know, tell it, hey, I need a fitness app for X, Y, and Z. It will already know, like, what your code base looks like. It will already know what your usability patterns looks like what you like and what you don't like, and it will be able to one-shot it without problems, I think. But this is just from what I've seen, not from what I've experienced.
Sure, but I think there's a level of complexity when you are, because I cannot I cannot imagine a more of a real world situation in which you, for example, let me give you this example. This app, it has to do with it's sort of a it's, I would say it's not a Tinder, but it's finding people in bars that you can send a drink to, right? Pretty much.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. Interesting.
All good. But when you arrive to it, there's all sorts of complexiies, right? That you encounter, right?
Yeah.
Different modules,
like
different requirements, different stages of the investor deck they are in, that they need to commit to or whatever, right? Those type of things I think are very, I don't know, very nuanced and very difficult to
that is true.
nail in a way. And I think it's going to be a time in which probably those are dissected and created and produced in a much faster way and more accurate. But I think the mixing up of them, I don't know, there's something around them that it's not going to be, because of how you create. How you create is messy.
Yeah, I understand. But imagine this. Imagine that's partially. Imagine that you are an app designer who produces like all of those things, like for multiple clients. You work with OpenClaw or Hermes, for example, and you have this pattern of like, this is just the app that we're designing, but also this is all of the overhead for the app. Like we have also marketing materials that we need for it. We need like internal communications materials like decks and stuff like that. I think that the agents can recognize those things and go like, oh, okay, so when you're gonna design the next app, I will also produce the overhead for this as well. Like, but the question is in the pattern recognition. Like, no matter the complexity of the pattern, it just has to recognize the pattern itself. Like, okay, this is how you do things, so this is how we do things. And I think I think it's possible already now. And at the same time, it feels like we're just on the ground floor of AI. Like the graph is going like this, and we're just on the ground floor.
I agree. Yeah, to me, the most interesting part is the reducing of the gap. I think that's super. That's very good news. In my opinion, it's very good news for creatives in that way, because you can think about weird shit and actually produce it.
I'm starting to build my own hardware. Like, I'm buying things to put together my own hardware, little things, right?
To create like a pod or whatever,
to create toys, whatever the fuck. But I can do it now. Do it now because it's not like it was completely impossible for me before. What the key differentiator between now and then is that what cloud allows me to do is basically summarize like 30 hours of web research of me just going like scrolling things and understanding how things work. Cloud will go, here's what you need: A, B, C, D. This is A goes into B, B goes into C, and this is it. That's it, right? It gives me the answer in a very simple way.
Yeah, and probably a good, I would say, clueless question of the answer is does it hurt to not know what the fuck it's doing or no? Why I say that? Because of course there's a discourse over that, and people have a lot of opinions, and of course coders say, yeah, of course, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah, of course.
But you can count of it improving itself quite a bit for you to don't give a shit about it, and ask away, and finally, being workable. Of course, the type of project depends a little bit on that. I don't think you can, I don't know, run Amazon with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, of course. But in the middle, in that pool, you have a lot of types of projects that you can fit in within that.
I think it's a very hard question because I have no development experience. Like, I don't read code. I don't write code. The absolute extent of what I can do is if Claude asks me A, B, or C, and then gives me the reasons for those things, I can go like,
fine.
Well, A looks good. Let's go with A.
Yeah. Oh, you decided that, so it's
yeah. But at the same time, I follow like security people on Twitter as well.
Oh, of course.
All the time, I feel like the rate of when I see tweets related to some sort of supply chain attacks or some sort of attacks targeting like AI agents, or like using AI agents as a door into your infrastructure is increasing, and I think it's going to get very scary very fast. I think it looks to me like that. So at a level, I do want to understand what cloud is doing. Like, I would like to over time learn, at least to read and understand conceptually what it's doing. Even if I won't write it anyway, I would like to understand it, because I feel like without that part, I'm going to fall victim to some sort of an attack at some point. It's just a question of when.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think it's I think it's a matter of responsibility that you need to learn at least the fundamentals, not in code, in my opinion. I don't think it's code the problem. I think it's problem solving the problem. Because problem solving, what allows you to do is to sort of get the work in chunks and kind of understand it in a much broader way. And so that way you tackle it in a much more holistic and have a better, decision making ability, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you. I know, or people know, that you have been posting online, and that has changed quite a bit for you because of that discipline and that sort of pattern that you created. What can you tell to people that are starting out and that are sort of hesitant about it, and in that same way you put it of, hey, it doesn't matter if it takes you 2 weeks or 15 years. Like, you need to be able to do your shit. What kind of learning or what kind of advice do you have for them?
Especially, like, I think it is a difficult question, especially given like the advent of the age of AI, because like you and me both could be out of a job like next year same time. Like that's it. That's a wrap for us, right?
That's why I'm here. Guilty.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm doing here.
Yeah. But I think the clearest way I can put this, in the most clearest straight terms I can put this, is that everything good or great that has happened in my career has happened to the direct result of me posting work online.
Okay.
That's it.
Amazing.
There's no
great summary.
You cannot go wrong with it. If you make stuff, post it online, just communicate to people that you're good at a certain thing, and hope that the surface area of those people increases over time. That more people see that you're good at something, and then people will want to pay you for it, or want to hire you for it, or whatever. Like, there's no way of going wrong with it. The only wrong way of going about it is not posting it online, just making it for yourself. Yeah, or waiting, trying to make something perfect. That's another hole I think it's wise to avoid. Just finish it and post it online and move on.
Amazing. All right, man. Thanks for this. I appreciate your time. Appreciate your thoughts, your head in general. And it's amazing. And I'll see you next time. I appreciate your time.
Yes, really enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.